Tonight, we're talking about sports sweepstakes. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, my name is Carolyn Wellman, and I'm known as the Contest Queen, and I teach others how to find, organize, enter, and win legitimate sweepstakes contests and giveaways. So tonight, I'm talking about specifically sports-themed or based sweepstakes. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's that time of year where a lot of games are wrapping up, like we're coming up to the World Series. Basketball's about to start. Football's underway. Hockey's coming up. And a lot of teams are hosting giveaways. So if you live near a major metropolitan city with a team, whether it be NBL, NFL, any of those, even near where I live in Toronto, we even have a Toronto Rocks, which is a lacrosse team. we have lacrosse. That's the second national sport in Canada. And I have won tickets to go see the Rock. It's actually a lot of fun. I love this hobby for trying new things, because you never know what you're going to enjoy. So you might as well go and experience it all. Isn't that what living's all about? All the experiences that you can have. And that's the best part of this hobby, is that you can take on a lot of those experiences for free and maybe even elevated. For example, George won playoff tickets to see the Toronto Maple Leafs play in the playoffs earlier this year. And they had sweet tickets with food and beverage and swag. So that was an elevated gaming experience. So when I talk sports sweepstakes, there's two types. There's ones that the teams themselves actually host, and we're going to go into where you can find those. And then there's sports themed prizing. So a lot of major sponsors, especially alcohol. I notice a lot of beer love giving away, experiences to teams they sponsor, whether it be, again, hockey, football, and it could be not your standard. It could be Indy car racing, for example. Lots of sponsors for Indy car. There's lots of giveaways for that. And NASCAR, different types of sports. Any type of sports giveaway. One of our local field for our soccer team, the Toronto FC, Toronto Football Club, is by the bank. So the bank actually sponsors those. Our baseball team is sponsored by another bank. They give away tickets in a section with the green seats, because that's their color. So sponsors are also involved, but they're giving away sports prizes. So those are the types of things we're going to be talking about now. And then, of course, I will answer general sweepstakes questions throughout, because this is my monthly sweepstakes Q&A. But I also like to give each one a theme, so it has a bit of direction, and you can learn something specific from each Q&A. Now, your phone is going to be your friend for some of these giveaways. Now, what do I mean by that? I like my little folders. I have one here called Fun and Games. And if you notice, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Raptors and the Toronto FC. Why? Because when I open up those apps, of course, it's taking a hot minute. The game, if I go and scroll down, I get offers for you right away. I can enter to win Ford Fan Deck tickets. I can enter to win a Yeti. So they only have 2 giveaways on this right now. But right in the app, I don't have to go anywhere else. And these are great to enter when you have downtime. So if you're waiting for a bus, you're at the doctor's office, there's a commercial on TV, you're a little bit bored. Now's your chance to win tickets. And one is signed, like autographed memorabilia Those are fantastic prizes. So that's for that app. And then if I open up the other app now, I just saw that the Raptors are starting. They may or may not have tickets. Of course, it's waiting. 30th anniversary. Can you believe that? Offers for you. Now, this one has games. That one's called Rap Attack. Oops, what did I just touch? Let's go to the home. Yeah, Rap Attack is the only game you have. But what does it say? Enter now for your chance to win. So there's giveaways. And once the season gets going, sometimes they have 6 to 10 of these different games and things. You can win tickets, you can win merchandise, all types of things from the Raptors. And then sometimes the sponsors will have in-app contests. So for example, LG is always giving away washers and dryers. Why specifically washers and dryers? I don't know. Sorry, excuse me. Sometimes a fridge, but you have to enter in the app, or you get the information in the app, and then you have to go to Instagram and share how you're the biggest fan, and you have to tag them and put the hashtag and things like that. So now that's a participatory one where you are not just filling out an entry form, but you are showing how you're the biggest fan. Now, behind these screens, our office is decked out in the Toronto Maple Leafs. So if you go and watch other videos on my YouTube channel, you're going to see it. Because when I first moved in here with George, the living room was a weird blue, and he had his Toronto Maple Leafs memorabilia up there. And I thought, I'm not living in a man cave. Hey, let's make the office sports theme, because that's fun. And I had him go to Home Depot and buy the official Toronto Maple Leafs blue. It wasn't cheap, but it looks good. So 2 walls are the blue, 2 walls are the white, and we have all these things tacked up. And of course, I had won some NHL.com gift cards and bought some swag. So some of the banners and things that are up on the walls, I won those. And I would be filming videos. And then I started to realize that having a background of Toronto Maple Leafs, when I'm teaching about different things, especially since I have more than one YouTube channel, because I don't just teach people how to win sweepstakes. I also have Words for Winning, where I teach people all about how to think lucky and be lucky before you are lucky. A lot of stuff like Helene Hadsel, who's behind me, you know, the Name It and Claim It game. So I have that over there, and I thought, this isn't very professional. So I bought a screen, and then I realized my hair was almost the same color as the screen, and it kind of disappeared. So I had my graphics designer take all my book covers and make banners. But behind these little book covers, or big book covers, because they're like 2 feet by 3 feet, yeah, this whole office is blue and white with signed memorabilia and banners and things all over the walls. And it's quite cool. So if you come to a club meeting, or we're just chatting on Zoom, like if I have my Toastmasters meetings, I don't put up the screen, so you see all the fun behind me. So that's quite the thing. And this office has won me prizes, because a couple of years ago on TikTok, the Toronto Maple Leafs had show us how you are a fan, and I had to use a filter, and it put like a hockey helmet on me, and I swirled around my office, and I said, I get to work here every day. Then I get a little DM, hey, are you within a certain distance? You have to be a certain distance. They limit the distance people can win from. It is in their official rules. And I said, well, does this count? And they say, yes, it does. And I won 2 tickets to a game, because our office is blue and white. So there you go. Now it makes it a little more difficult for other sports teams when they ask for the biggest fan, because I don't have as much memorabilia from the other sports teams. It's easier with this one. So it's a bit of a catch-22 on my part. So Geneva asks, why are a lot of sweepstakes excluding Florida? Well, Florida has different sweepstakes laws than a lot of the other states, and require registration and different things. I'm not a promotional lawyer, so I don't know the exact clauses. However, because of that, Florida has a lot of giveaways that other states don't. And also because Florida has a cruise industry and major theme parks, plus a lot of tourist destinations, there's a lot of giveaways in Florida that no one else can enter. So one of my tips to you is when you're going to your sweepstakes aggregate that you're using to find your legitimate sweepstakes, just click the ones, just search. A lot of them have a search feature by state, and then they will only show you the giveaways that you're eligible for. And you're probably going to discover there's a lot that are just Florida only, and that increases your odds of winning. So that is one tip to winning there. Let me see if there's any questions on Instagram. Oh, Junior says, now I can't show those up on the screen, but Junior says, I just got back from the Vegas vacation. I won. Well, congratulations. What's better than a trip? A free trip. Hello. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so back to the sports theme. So if you're in a major city and have a variety of sports teams, Dollars to Donuts, they have an app. There's an app for that, as they say. So look that up and put it on your phone. Like I said, so I don't have it scattered. I have it in a folder on my phone. Of course, my phone just locks itself because security. And, what is happening with my phone? Because I want to show you. So I have them all in a little, like I said, a little folder that doesn't take up a lot of room. And if I want, I just tap on it and up it comes. So that's where I keep, and on my folder, I call it Fun and Games. So I have my Ticketmaster in there and anything I need for concerts, things like that, all in the same folder. Makes it easier to find everything in one spot. So I recommend you download all the apps for your local sports teams because they are going to have, and sometimes they have exclusive giveaways just in the app. Like you won't find it anywhere else. If you're on a sweepstakes site, a lot of times they won't be listed. You just have to log into the app. So make it part of your weekly routine. When you go weekly to check all the different local radio stations and TV outlets and different places in your area that you check on a weekly basis to see what new giveaways they have, check your local apps as part of that weekly routine. So that's what I want you to do. So those are the sports giveaway. Now, if you're looking for sports type prizes, that's where searching in your, there's twofold. The first will be to search in your favorite app or, sweepstakes website. So if you go, some of them have specific sections depending on how they have divided up the site. So some have sections where you can get single entry, daily entry, weekly entry, and then they'll have an option where you can check by prize type. And then they can have, they have different sections where you can look, like by state, ending soon, different things. So you can search the site for any sports themed giveaways that way. Or you can do searches. Now, I discovered that even sometimes my searching isn't as good as it should be because McDonald's is starting up next week in the United States for the first time in over 20 years since the big scandal. If you saw McMillions, you know what happened. I have an entire blog on it on my website. If you just type in McDonald's, you can read the original article. And I also did a two-part series recap with my sweepy friend Jason Block, who loves television, and him and I discussed the entire, so it's full of spoilers. Don't watch it if you haven't seen the series yet. I believe it's still on HBO, and there is a 6-part podcast on Spotify you can listen to, which is quite good. I imagine it's also on the other podcast platforms. I haven't looked, but I imagine it is. So that started, and I discovered that I kept checking for Canada because I'm like, that's weird. Last year it started October 1st. We have nothing. There's usually 7 to 14 days before it starts. There's signage up at McDonald's saying, hey, Monopoly's coming. You open the app. Usually there's an ad. Guess what's coming back? Nothing. I did searches for press releases. Nothing. And I consider myself a pretty good searcher. Anyway, I made a comment on Tom Cavalli of I Win Contest video, and he goes, oh, did you not check last year's URL? Because it's up and it's there. And I'm like, no, that's the one thing I forgot to check. So he said, you should come to my searching class. You need to search better. I'm like, well, apparently I do. But interestingly enough, all the usual suspects haven't been. And I'm just wondering, part of me is wondering if it's not, I haven't compared the rules, but I'm wondering if it's the same agency running both and they're putting more of their push on the American one first and then the Canadian one, or they're rolling ours out, after October 1st, because it is starting on the 2nd. So, and it is only it's still September. So maybe nothing will be in store until later this week. So that's going to be interesting to see. And it's going to be fun to play and watch the videos of my American friends and how their contest differs from ours. Because I haven't had a chance to read the rules, but last year, and I'm sure it's going to be the same, there's 4 ways to win. The first is win instantly right on the game piece. 2, collect the game pieces. 3, enter those game pieces in on the app. You could win another prize instantly. And then you're put into a grand prize draw. You get a choice of which prize you want to put your entry into. And they range from like a car to cash to gift cards, all kinds of things. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Cynthia said there's no mail-in this year. I don't even recall mail-in in Canada last year, and we have a postal strike on right now, so there won't be mailing in here either, even if it's in the rules, which is funny. But back to, anyway, the point I was trying to make before I went on this crazy segue was that Tom hosts searching classes, which apparently I need to take, because even with all my normal pretty good searching skills and the normal ways I always find the McDonald's, they have nothing, no press releases, nothing on their website, nothing, which I'm a little surprised at. And actually I was a little thrown off because it did start October 1st last year, and it's the end of the month. So you think there would be some sort of announcement out there already. And what I found strange is the announcement they made in the US that was on Twitter. It was on the official McDonald's account, X. It looked like their account had been hacked. Like, it was a terrible ad. She says theirs is done online and you can enter 5 times a day for a code. So yeah, it's going to be fun. But I also do like to support the sponsor. And so I tend to go over and get either a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, maybe a hash brown. I tend to do it. I like in the morning. It's the easiest time. And then I always keep my eyes out. Or sometimes I ask other people for their codes if they don't want them. You'd be amazed at what people throw away. So you never know. And there's always going to be the rare pieces. So it's going to be super interesting to see how it plays out and when it's going to be done. But yeah, another way to search for sports prizes is you can set up alerts and you can set up searches to include specific sports teams, the word sweepstakes, the word giveaway, your city, those type of things. And that's another way to find those giveaways for the sporting prizes that you really want. Now, sometimes it doesn't work because, for example, a long time ago when I was married, like this is going back to closer to when I first started entering, my husband, ex seems so harsh, husband was a huge baseball fan. We would win tickets, experiences, sports memorabilia all the time. And for some reason, the Blue Jays baseball tickets there's not a lot of giveaways. Like my sister's a huge fan and she's like, hey, if you see any giveaways for tickets, let us know. And I even enter because I think, well, they're such huge fans that if I win, I'll just give them the tickets, my sister and my brother-in-law, because they're so crazy for baseball. I'm like, yeah, I don't mind sharing. And I figure it just increases the odds of winning if, they enter and then I enter. And there's not a heck of a lot of tickets. I have not won baseball tickets. I can't even tell you the last time I went to a baseball game that I won tickets to. A decade, maybe a little more. Decade sounds about right, actually. It's crazy how those prizes aren't being given out now. Yet hockey tickets, I seem to win at least one or two pairs every season, minimum, and some memorabilia. Why hockey tickets are easier to come by? I don't know. And I think there's actually less people in the hockey stadium than there are in the baseball stadium. So you think it would be easier to get to, free tickets, but who knows? I'm not in the marketing department, so I don't have the ins and outs of why some sports teams give away more tickets than others and more prizes than others and more chances than others. So you could do the searches that way. And again, also look at all the sponsors. So that's the other thing. When you're watching a game, so for example, if you're watching hockey, you can see the sponsors around the rink, right? They have some of the bigger sponsors are actually in the ice, right on the ice, their logos, things like that. Go check out those sponsors and see if they're giving away prizes that are tied to the sport or the games themselves. So there's another place. And then some small businesses have games tied to that. Like there's one local radio station, talk radio, that always has sports, and they're always giving away tickets, but you have to listen to the morning show and call in. So if you're putzing around in the morning and you can have a radio on in the background and you're really crazy about this particular team in your area, have your local talk radio on, especially if they're talking sports. They probably have prizes. And I see what giveaways they're having because each week I check the radio station's websites and I see that the talk radio one always has some type of sporting or ticketing giveaway. And it changes based on the season. So again, check your weekly sites to see who's giving away what that's tied to a sports team. So, and of course, here's the crazy thing. I'm giving you kind of vague advice. The reason I'm giving you vague advice is because every city is going to be different, right? Oh, Martel on Instagram says, several years ago, I won season tickets to Drexel basketball. Oh my God, that's amazing. My husband and I really enjoyed the games. I bet that would be so fun. So yes, you can, you have to, it is vague, but again, it depends on where you live. So I live close to Toronto. So it's going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Raptors, the Toronto FC, the Argos football. We have the CFL, the Canadian Football League. But if you're in, Chicago, your teams are totally different, right? You have the White Sox. Oh my God, the teams, right? The Red Sox. I think they have two. They have an East and a West baseball team. The Bulls for basketball. Not the Red Wings? Yeah, see, not so up on my sports. But your teams are going to differ. And then again, it's going to differ if you're in a smaller town. If you're in a rural area in a state, if it's 2 or 3 hours to a major city for you, it might not be worth entering ones for ticket giveaways, but you might want to enter for ones that include a trip or sports memorabilia that can get mailed to your house, right? Wow, this is fun. Congratulations. Anna says, I just won $4,000 in outdoor gear, including 2 paddle boards. Well, there's sporting prizes right there. Yeah, I guess I didn't talk about that. You can win sports equipment for yourself to get healthy and fit. That's a subset of sporting sports sweepstakes, I guess. Yeah, there's so many bike, in the spring you'll see bike giveaways. The winter's coming up where you're going to start seeing packages for snowboards and skis, and I've seen snowshoes being given away. Sometimes snowsuits being given away. All kinds of things like that. Hockey skates being given away as prizes. So yeah, and then again in the summer it starts to go, hey, win the camping gear. So you can, and hiking and walking poles and all kinds of things. So yeah, if you can win all kinds of sporting things for yourself, such as I've seen kayaks, paddle boards. What else have I seen? Actually, if you want a sport, I want a pickleball set this summer. And I don't play pickleball, but I think we're going to have to take it up. Anna says, how can I do RoboForm on my phone? Well, this is, it's a little harder to show here because I don't actually teach RoboForm here. What I do is I teach it as a class, a separate class, where I walk people through example after example after example. And only recently did StreamYard allow screen sharing, but if you put it on your phone, hang on. If you put RoboForm on your phone like this, and you have autofill, right? If you secure autofill on your phone, and you enable the forms and the autofill, it's going to help you do all that. And then I have, how do I show you this? Okay, so if I get to all the folders, just like I do on my laptop, I have all my giveaways in here. Like, so for example, my dailies, which are down because it's the end of the month and I haven't had a chance to, because I've been working on so many projects, but I have them all here. And then if I tap on them, it just enters. Oops, I just exited by mistake. Okay. Oh, I hit the bottom button instead of the go back in RoboForm. So if I go here and I go to all, I see all my folders, and I can pick a folder, right? And then I can just tap one and it will, right, take you there and log me in. And then I can enter the giveaway. Of course, it's not showing, right? But it's much harder to do this kind of thing on your phone than it is on a laptop. Like, I really prefer a laptop. And actually, one of the things I started doing when I traveled is I bought a Chromebook, because it's basically a tablet, but it has a keyboard. So it makes it easier to enter giveaways. So it's kind of like a phone, but the screen's bigger and it has the keyboard, which makes entering much easier. At least for me. I know many people that just use it on their phone and they're fine. I'm not as good at it. I tend to use my phone for entering sweepstakes on social media, especially Instagram. So if I do, so because this is where I'll do it. So if we're going somewhere, I always get George to drive. Then I sit there and I enter social media sweepstakes. And because that's what I look at all the time, they're literally giveaway, 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 giveaway. Oh, wait, giveaway. The algorithm is working absolutely in my favor. So I tend to enter all my socials on the phone versus the laptop. And I do them last. Like they're the last thing I do, or I do them when I have downtime. So if I'm waiting in line somewhere, if someone else is driving, something's happening where there's some, downtime, that's when I'll hit those giveaways. And I don't necessarily just scroll my feed because I have so many friends that tag me in giveaways. I can just pick a friend and start going and entering the ones that they've tagged me in. So it's probably something that I want to win because they're, in my friend circle. So my phone is primarily for social media giveaways. And then of course work because I'm uploading videos. I'm answering emails, doing things like that. So that's what my phone is primarily used for. I prefer to enter all my sweepstakes on a laptop. And if I'm traveling, I'll take my Chromebook. Also, if you only have a phone, if it's your only way to enter, I do have some mobile giveaways like I have in Chrome. And I have contests and instants. So, I keep them here as tabs and you can do the same, right? Like, look, I haven't done this one today, right? We got Circle K. It's coming up. Let's do, do I want free chips or free peanuts or free iced tea? I think I'll just pick one. What do I want? Let's go with the iced tea. I got to go claim it. So that one's good. And then I have one that's receipt based. I did buy some today. This is my secret for Halloween candy. We don't get a lot of kids. So instead of buying a box of the mini every day when I'm out, I'll just buy a chocolate bar that qualifies for the giveaway. And then I have little bags and I put like other little Halloween-y things in because I had some spider rings and I had some like Frankenstein fingers and some Dracula teeth and different things. And I make like I get the Ziploc bags with the Halloween decorations on them at the dollar store. And so they get a full-size chocolate bar. And they're all Mars based and I enter them every day for the sweepstakes. So I do about 25 little packages. So every kid that comes along to our street, it gets a full-size chocolate bar. And I get like 25 entries into the giveaway. That is my logic. Oh, and look at that. It's sports-based. Super Bowl giveaway, right? You got all the football going across there. So that's another way to, like I said, find the sponsors that are giving away the prizes that are sports themed. And you can look for giveaways that talk about, especially the finals of anything like the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, the World Series. You can do searches for those and enter to win a trip. Yeah. So two birds, one stone, sports themed and a free trip. Is really good. Let's just see. Jace says on Instagram, if you ever need anything, there's probably a competition for it. Yeah, Martel says I need to win a laptop. There are, The other thing you could look for is you can look for gift cards. So Visa gift cards, MasterCard gift cards, Best Buy gift cards, things like that, to win a laptop. There is electronics. So if you go into the sweepstakes sites, like if you go to Sweepstakes Fanatics, for example, or Sweepstakes Advantage and search, they have a search feature that will allow you to find electronic prizing, or you can just type in the word laptop or Chromebook or computer and search on those prizes and enter for those. And then you can also do gift cards and cash, because you can use the gift card and the cash, obviously, to buy yourself said laptop. A couple times a year is really good. Back to school is really good for it. There are a lot of deals. Black Friday and Boxing Day are the 3 best times of the year to buy a laptop. So that's a good thing to look at. My daughter actually just got one for back to school. She's in university and she needed a new one. So it was we got a good deal on it because in the back to school sales. So it's a good time so that's a way you can get a laptop. Also, if your budget's really tight, depending if you're doing it just for sweepstakes, again, start with a Chromebook and work your way up. Because it'll be easier than entering on your phone, but not as expensive as a full-blown Windows-based computer. So that is another way to save money. I mean, I did buy mine about 4 years ago, but it was only $300. So for $300 to $500, depending on the sales, you might be able to get a good Chromebook. Mine's a Lenovo, but HP has good ones. Asus has good ones. You can get a good Chromebook, and that can tie you over until you get a laptop. Now, that said, there's some people that swear they have an iPad and they only enter sweepstakes on an iPad and they win a ton. And I cannot for the life of me enter that way. So, is one system better than the other? No, it's what you're comfortable with. Part of the thing, what I teach is do what works for you. So if you're entering on your phone, you're finding it extremely difficult and you're not winning, then yes, you do need to switch. But if you're entering on your phone, you're doing a ton of, say, Instagram giveaways and you're just killing it, they're coming, you're getting a prize here, you're getting a prize there. There's always something coming to your door. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Another thing that I do, and I've done some videos on this, you can go find some shorts. I started finally keeping a spreadsheet this year. Every year I do the diligent thing. I had a spreadsheet for years and years and years of all my wins. And I started when one year somebody asked me what I'd won and I didn't know. So I started tracking like literally everything. Like if this year I'm entering, say, for example, the A&W contest. And I'm winning a lot of the instant prizes. But the instant prizes are root beer, French fries, and hamburgers. And I've only won one hamburger, and the rest are all fries and root beer, mostly root beer, free root beers at A&W. They're $2, $3. I mark it down. That's a win. I was caller 9 and I won $500 cash. That goes on the list, right? So everything from the $3, the most expensive thing I won this year so far, because the year's not over. There's still 1 quarter left. The most expensive thing I won so far this year was actually, I'm wrong. I was going to say it was the trip. I won my 23rd trip. It was a weekend getaway to Kingston, Ontario for the 25th annual film festival. And I did a whole blog on that. But that was only $900. The playoff tickets that George won were actually $1,000. Crazy expensive hockey tickets. And so that's the most expensive thing I won this year so far. Right? It's so far because the year's not over yet. The year is not over yet. And there's lots to be won. And guess what? Get ready, because we're only 2 months away from sweepstakes season. And if you don't know what sweepstakes season is, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to get crazy. The month of December, every company that you can possibly think of has decided to host an advent calendar giveaway, and they're giving away something every day for anywhere between 5, 12, 24, 31 days. It is nuts. And a lot of giveaways end on the last day of the month. So they call it delete day on tomorrow on the 30th is going to be delete day, where everyone enters all their giveaways and end on September 30th and then delete them out of their system. December 31st, not only is it the end of the month, it's the end of the year. So it's almost exponential. And on top of that, it's the last day of sweepstakes season. And a lot of your sweepstakes lists will go from like this to this. And normally what you can enter in an hour, you're now taking 2 to 3 hours to enter. It is crazy. And it's also usually my busiest time of year, just because. So trying to keep up with the entries. So that said, it's a good time to get all your ducks in a row and get yourself organized for the types of sweepstakes you want to win, and get familiar with some of the sweepstakes sites and their features. So when sweepstakes season does come, you know exactly how to do it. Let me just see if there's any more questions on Instagram. Jay says, wow, 23rd trip. I've won 3 trips so far, but the year's not over. No, it is not over. And that is amazing that you've won 3, because guess what? At one point I had won 0. Everybody starts at 0 and works their way up. And because I live in Canada, I can't win as much as my American counterparts. Plus, I also had some really dismal years with prizing. My friend Tom Cavalli, I think he's won trip number 94 now. I could be wrong. He could just be at 93. And he's interviewed Steve Dadoff. If you go to I Win Contests on YouTube, you watch his video. He interviews Steve Dadoff, who's surpassed 300 trips in his lifetime. Now, Steve is in his 80s. So he's had a long time to accrue those trips, but still, like, wow. That's crazy, right? Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for sports themed giveaways. Autumn says, I just came across you. Well, you have just discovered the best hobby in the world. And anybody that's a sweeper, because I see some of my fellow sweepers in the chat, are going to agree with me. It is the best hobby in the world. Not only can you win prizes, that there's different kinds of prizing. And then I'm going to tell you about a secret part of the hobby that nobody knows about when they start entering. So the first one is that you can win prizes that help alleviate your budget. So for example, you win a gift basket of beauty products. Well, you're going to need that shampoo and you're going to need that face cream. So now you don't have to spend that out of your budget. Fantastic. Then you can win prizes that just aren't in your budget, like a brand new car or a brand new washer dryer. That, if you were going to buy a set, they would have been used, but now you've got a brand new set and you didn't have to pay for it. Awesome. Then the other thing is winning prizes that money can't buy. Like I met Sting. When am I ever going to meet Sting? There's people that have gone on trips and met celebrities and gone to places that just weren't, that they can never afford or couldn't imagine or would never think to go. And they have the experience of a lifetime. So those are, prizes that money can't buy. Like a long time ago, in a land far, far away, we went to the Harry Potter set while they were still filming. What? Like, what did you do this weekend? I went to London, did some shopping, had tea and crumpets, saw where the Queen lived, met Harry Potter and came home. Like, what? Actually, Daniel Radcliffe wasn't there, but we were on set and it was amazing. So like that'll never happen. in your everyday life. So that's what's the secret part, friends? When I started entering, I had no idea. I mean, I started to know there was a bit of a community because I was on a Yahoo group and there was a bunch of us and we'd chat. But it wasn't until I went to my very first sweepstakes convention and I said to my husband, I feel like I know these people. Like I know these people. Like intuitively, I knew these people. And I called my girlfriend who's intuitive and she said, oh, you met your soul group. I'm like, I sure did meet my soul group. And the nicest people. And now, of course, I've been going to these events for like 20 years. There's a lot of hugging and a lot of helping each other out and a lot of cheering each other on. Like the nice thing about the sweepstakes community, you'll find this if you become a sweeper, you win stuff and all your friends are like, she won again. Like, really? Meanwhile, they have no idea how much time you spent entering or the effort that you put into winning. Just like anything in life, it does take effort. The prizes don't magically just show up at your door. Yes, RoboForm is good. I do have a class coming up. I think it's, is it the 15th next month? I don't even know my own event calendar off the top of my head. I've been working with I hired an assistant. We're just doing part-time to start while we sort everything out. And we're setting up all the emails and all the social posts for all my classes because I only teach 3 times a year. I used to teach every month, but then I didn't have time. And so now I just teach 3 times a year and I'm trying to improve my courses. Like I want to add a course onto Words for Winning called So You Want to Write a Book? Because every time anybody finds out I wrote a book, they go, I want to write a book. And I have all kinds of resources. So I'm just going to make a class. But I haven't written it yet. So I was going to teach it this fall. I'm like, no, we'll just say coming 2026. But I teach all the sweepstakes classes I teach Helene Hadsel's Winovers for Wishcraft 2.0. I teach how to win on social media because a lot of people get confused. And especially now that video ones are involved and, and the different formats, because there's reels, there's posts, there's carousels, there's lingo like UGC. What is that? Those kind of things that you're going to come across. How to do all that, how to tag people, how to find sweeping friends. I cover all that. Sweepstakes for beginners. That might be a good one. And I do have a RoboForm 101. Did I cover them all? Yeah, I think that's it. And we're working now. Right now, it's under a workshop tab that's like kind of buried on my website. We're working on updating Contest Queen. So stay tuned for that. And soon every workshop's going to, right now, it's all the workshops are on one page. We're working on giving each workshop its own page so it's less confusing if you want some details. Oh, absolutely. Brittany says, I tell people that determination is my secret to winning. It truly is hard work. Those daily entries take up time. Yes. It's like trying to tell someone who wants to get fit, they want to lift 300 pounds, say bench press or press 300 pounds. They don't go to the gym on day one and somebody might be able to do it, but that's rare. They work their way up to it and they go, 3 to 5 times a week, every week for months and months and months and months and months. It's consistency over time equals results. Sweepstakes is no different than getting fit or eating healthy. If you want to lose a few pounds, you don't just, eat granola one day and go, okay, how come the 20 pounds isn't gone? No, it's consistency over time equals results. It's the same thing. But a lot of people say, okay, so how do you win? And I tell them, okay, set up an email address just for entering, use a sweepstakes site, come back every day. And they're like, that's too much work. And I'm like, then you won't win. Yeah, I'll have to look under the workshop tab. Like I said, we're updating. It's kind of been 2 years in the works, but then book sales were down a little bit. So I was okay, but I didn't have money to pay to upgrade my site. So we're working on that right now because it does need an overhaul. Now, here's the other exciting thing. We're thinking of getting a new logo. And I'm thinking of changing because for years, I've been doing my headshot with my pink glasses and my pink shirt. But I think I'm going to go green, like lucky green, like on my book cover. I'm going to do green glasses. Actually, these are my green glasses, dark green. And I also have light green. So I'm going to try both and see which pictures we like better. And then, so I'm thinking we're going to go green and update the site, and we're splitting up pages and some things that people go to all the time, like the workshops tab, bring the workshops right to the homepage, stuff like that. So people don't have to go like hunting. That'll be good. Oh my gosh. Brittany says, this is so funny because I do this too. And I didn't turn them on last week and I missed so many things. Besides those daily entries, I have so many alarms set to remind me to listen for keywords from radio stations throughout the day. I check my local radio stations' weekly giveaways every single Monday. Yes. And make friends. I somehow got sucked into this little radio Facebook group, and they are my savior. We all post in the group. So who's got this one radio station? I don't know what I was doing today. I even had the alarms, and I still missed the keywords. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's Jared, the kingpin of the group. He says, I make a spreadsheet every week with all the contests. There's our kingpin. You can go friend him if you want a sweepy friend. But like I said, that was the secret surprise of the hobby, is the actual friends you make. And I've met so many sweepers in real life at the conventions, at sweepstakes club meetings, at socials. It's the best. And it's, what's nice? We all raise each other up. Like someone says, I won something. A lot of times people go, oh, you're so lucky you win. The sweepers go, oh my God, you're so lucky. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. They don't get mad. They cheer each other on. Like, wow, that's amazing. And we're all happy for the other person. And, this is a good tip from Jared. He said he presets text for keyword times. Like if you don't have to listen specifically for the cue to go and it's the same keyword, and a lot of times it's a keyword in your name and you kind of roughly know when it goes, you can send it. But something happened today in the group. He missed a call because he didn't have his ringer on. So always make sure your ringer's on. Actually, what I've done is I've connected my ringer to my watch. So when my phone rings, this buzzes. So if I forget to turn the sound back on, because I always shut it off at night, if in the morning I forget to turn it on, or I'm not in earshot of my phone, I know it's ringing because it's on my wrist. So just a tip, if you have an Apple Watch, this is a Garmin, but they're Galaxy Tab. There's all the kinds of them. And actually, I see giveaways for those all the time too. You can make sure that you do that. I know, poor Jared. He says, oh my God, I got a call from the radio station and I missed it. But it was for a game, and you had to know you had to listen to the tune and know the artist and the tune. And I think they play it a little weird. So you have to really know your music. I'm terrible at those games, so I don't enter that one. But you never know. You never know. Okay, so let's recap again one more time the sports theme of the night. If you're looking for, if you like any type of sporting event, get all the apps for your local sports team on your phone. Set up Google alerts for anything sports related in your area. Use the sweepstakes aggregates and the contest sites to search for sports type giveaways. So you can be looking for Super Bowl tickets, hockey tickets, sporting equipment, anything related. You can do searches for that on those sites. And then you can actually set up physical Google alerts for those specific things. If there's something specific you want to win, like if you wanted an electric bike, you could set up a giveaway. Now, you might not get a lot coming your way, but then you will, win what you really, really want. And that's kind of the name of the game. And sometimes you actually win those. So who knows? Maybe this year is the year I'll be, well, technically it'll be next year. I win it this year. I go next year to the Super Bowl. You never know, because it only takes one to win. So I will see you next time. And in the meantime, look out for all my videos on the upcoming McDonald's giveaway in Canada. And this year, for the first time in over 2 decades, the United States. I'm so excited to see how that's going to play out. And if any of my sweepstakes friends win big. Good night, and I will talk to you